All right, well, welcome to the show. Welcome to PATCHWORK Friends. Francesca Downs, a writer, screenwriter, singer, poet, actor from Chicago. We know you here at PATCHWORK, but tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Francesca, she, her pronouns. I am from Chicago and I'm a writer, actor, singer, and now director.
How did you get to become a creative?
I've always been a creative person. I've been writing poetry since I was a kid, and I've always really liked movies and music. I grew up with my mom. She's a creative herself, like she's a blues singer, so being around that environment really shaped me in my creativity. And my whole family is really a very musical family as well. And my dad is a huge film buff too, so it's like music and movies and like the creative arts have always been around me, so it only makes sense for me to go in that route.
It was natural for you.
Yeah.
What do you lean more towards? Are you a writer or do you prefer creating music? Let's figure out, what do you love to do? And let's talk a little bit more about that.
Well, I'm mostly a writer, honestly. I do want to start creating music, but for right now, I'm just like singing in the shower and stuff.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, yeah.
And do you prefer writing poetry?
Poetry is like definitely easier, but I think screenwriting is like more fun.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes screenwriting more fun than poetry?
It's just like creating a whole world, like creating characters and plots and storylines and, creating a whole story to tell to someone, which like you could argue is like you can create a world and create a story and characters in poetry, but it's for screenwriting, like there's like a visual in mind that like, and it's more like, it's actually going to become eventually, hopefully, but eventually it'll become like a movie or a television show. Whereas like poetry, it's just in the book, or like on the computer screen, but with the intention of a screenplay is like, it will eventually become like a whole visual medium.
A whole universe.
Yeah.
How do you, if you could help flesh that out for the people watching us, how do you create a world? Is that easy? Is that something that comes naturally for you? Or do you like the thrill of like, oh, how do I create a character? Like, what world am I coming up with? And like, do you know every single plot line that's going to happen? Or are you just kind of go with the flow? I've got one piece, whether that be a character or a place. I don't know where they're going to go, so let me work on that.
Yeah, I'm definitely like an outline type of person. I want to know what's going into the screenplay before I start writing, usually, because whenever I start writing, like just out of the blue, no like plan beforehand, like I kind of get lost. So I definitely like an outline. But in terms of creating a world and creating characters, honestly, like for me, I think it's easier than like a lot of writers that I know, because a lot of writers like to create like these huge like fantasy worlds, like world building and stuff like that. And I'm not really into fantasy. I'm more into like realism.
Real stuff.
Yeah, so it's a lot easier for me to like create characters that are like someone that you would know walking down the street. It's just like very much like the project I'm writing right now, it takes place in Chicago during like contemporary times. So it's not hard for me to like be like, okay, like this character does this, that every day, and that's their storyline. It's just like, it's a little less complicated. You
don't have to like figure out their magical ability, like how does it work with potions and stuff? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Do you take inspiration from your life, or do you like to imagine yourself in someone else's shoes?
Yeah, both actually. Because they say write what you know. So all the characters, the main characters of the project I'm working on right now is like people loosely based on people that I know in real life. So yeah, I definitely like pull from my experience, but I also try to pull from other people's experiences too, without being like disrespectful or anything. But
so it's a mix of what you know and what you don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. You noted that you are a director, or are you making your directorial debut? Can you tell us what company that's with, who they are, and honestly, any details as possible? We want to get into your life.
Yeah, so I'm working with Pocket Theater VR, virtual reality, which is basically a virtual reality theater company. It was created by Joel Willison. I went to college with him, which is how I got into this company. And it's basically a theater company that aims to be more accessible. Aims to create more accessible theater by like posting plays and monologues on their YouTube channel. And we actually interviewed Joel on a previous Patchwork and Friends video, which you can check out.
Shout out.
The description. And yeah, so he actually asked me like just one day out of the blue, he was like, hey, do you want to direct this? And I was like, sure. So it's actually it's a monologue called Firm, Strong, Soft, Warm. And it's a monologue that was submitted based on the prompt. If you could relive a moment in your life, what would it be? What moment would that be and why? And this really great playwright called, her name is Delilah Maggie, and she wrote this monologue, and I won't say too much about it because I want everyone to watch it, but it's pretty emotional.
Yeah.
Pretty emotional, yeah.
Let's ask you the same question. If you could relive, you had to have thought about this.
Yes, I have.
I'm assuming. If you could relive any moment in your life, would you care to share?
Yeah.
Or if it's not number one, you don't want to share
I
number
know
2?
I'll share it. It's just like, it's kind of stupid.
No, nothing is stupid here.
I mean, like, it's actually, I'm actually writing this experience in my screenplay right now. It's, I had like this really crazy summer romance last summer 2020, and it was like insane, very flash in the pan, and I would relive that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about that. How exciting. Let's talk about 2020 just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, how do you see yourself now versus then? I mean, I'm happy for all of us for making it out alive, you know? So how was that for you?
It was pretty hard. Yeah, it was like, because I had just graduated college in 2019, and I was still like trying to figure out what the hell I was doing, and then the pandemic hit, and then I really didn't know what I was doing, and I still don't, but I feel like a lot better for some reason now, probably because like I have a lot more confidence in my artistic voice and like my capabilities than I did last year. But yeah, during that time, like, I was unemployed. I wasn't really doing anything like productive. But I think also like what I learned is that I don't really need to be productive all the time. I can just like experience life. I think that's what I learned from 2020. Life is meant to be experienced. Like there's no like supposed to be. There's no timeline on things. Like it's all those things are arbitrary, you know.
Productivity, I think, is such a weird concept anyway. Like, I don't have to be productive necessarily to be learning things.
Yeah.
Is that, would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Rapid fire questions? How do you feel? Okay.
Yeah, do it.
Here we go, off the top of the dome. Theater or movies?
Movies.
Plays or musicals?
Plays.
Poetry or novels?
Poetry.
Music or TV?
Oh, music.
Okay. A live show or a recording?
Live show.
Okay. Have you seen any shows recently? Are you getting back into things?
Yeah. I actually went to PATCHWORK like in September, and it was great. I saw Erykah Badu, Thundercat. I saw Yves Tumor, which I really love him. I saw a bunch of other people. I don't really remember, but they're all pretty good. And I'm actually gonna go to LA in December to see an R&B artist, Gabriel Garcon Montano, and I'm gonna see Azalea Banks.
Oh my goodness. That's gonna be an interesting experience.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So tickets are booked, you're going.
Yes,
okay.
we're going.
Great.
We're going. Yeah.
My last rapid fire question, and I'm hoping it stays in my brain because it might have just floated away. We'll circle back to it.
Okay.
We'll find it again.
Okay.
What are you most proud of?
Graduating college. That was pretty hard. And I made it out unscathed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the number one thing on your bucket list?
Ooh, that was a question that I got this week because I just started a new job and we're training right now. We have like multiple icebreaker questions. That was one of them, and everyone was saying like, "Oh, I would travel to Australia. I would travel here." They were talking about places they would travel, but honestly, like, I just want to be an artist and get paid for it. Like, that's what I want to do before if that doesn't happen before I die, I will be like, wow, my life was a waste. Not really, but like, you know what I mean?
So you're around all these normal people and they want to travel and you're like, I want to be a creative.
Yes, yes.
So what else are you doing besides directing? Like, are you just trying to live? Like, are you working on anything? Is there anything that you want people to know that this is who you are as an artist?
Yeah. I'm just trying to live, trying to survive. I'm trying to write more. I'm trying to get on like a consistent writing routine because I am a huge procrastinator, and I just really need to keep writing because I have so many ideas in my head that I just like need to do it. I just needed to write it and like, you know, just start somewhere, you know, and I just, in terms of like what I want people to know as me as an artist, I don't know.
Everything and nothing.
Yeah.
A little bit of mystery in there. Huh?
I mean, I guess it's like I'm still getting to know myself as an artist. So,
What would you say to high school Francesca? What would you say even to a 14-year-old Francesca, looking back?
I would say, one, don't worry about getting into the best college. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, you're gonna be in your 20s and 30s, 40s, 50s, and like what college you went to wouldn't matter in your life. It just like a person, like an employer wouldn't look at where you went to college and be like, oh, you didn't go to Harvard, fuck you. You like, no. So that, I would also say, don't hang out with people who make you feel bad about yourself.
Period.
And
tell her louder.
I know. And I would also say, you know, don't be afraid of your voice. Keep writing. If someone says that your writing sucks, they suck.
Okay, yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah, like, just like be, don't care about what other people think, because what other people think is just like, of you, is just like a projection of what their own insecurity is, and it has nothing to do with you.
Beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone is going to read the same thing as you and I do.
Yeah, exactly.
I figured out my rapid fire question.
Okay.
Favorite musical artist?
That's really hard.
TikTok.
I mean, right now it's Xenia Rubino. She's like an indie rock, electronic kind of musical artist and she just came out with a new album. It was really good. It's called Una Rosa, and I was just listening to her sophomore album, Black Terry Cat, when I was walking here. She's like really, really good, really, really great instrumentalist and singer and songwriter. And
favorite writer? Could be poetry. Ooh. It could be fantasy.
Favorite writer? I really, really like. There's this podcast that I listened to in high school called Two Brown Girls, and it was hosted by Ziba Blay and Faria. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce her last. I think it's Roisin, and like I would say those two for right now. They write like pop culture, Ziba Blay is more like a pop culture writer, and she writes about like the Black women experience and like Black women's like Black women in pop culture and like the representation, all that stuff. And Faria, she's a poet and she's a novelist. And they both actually came out with books that I really, really enjoyed. Ziba's book, it's called Carefree Black Girl. I'm actually still reading it. And then Faria came out with a book called Like a Bird. It's a novel about this young mixed race woman who was sexually assaulted and was disowned by her family, and she's like navigating the world, figuring out how to live without her mom and her dad. And then Carefree Black Girl is like basically a book of essays about Black women in pop culture. Basically, like what she writes about is like the representation and her own experience too with being like a depressed woman, a depressed Black woman. And I'm still reading it, but both of those writers I really, really admire and I enjoy a lot. And actually, Faria's she hosts a writing class that I want to take, and I actually emailed her and she emailed me back. Yay! And she's like, cool, but it was too expensive for me right now, so I told her like, hey, I can't afford this, but I really want to take this, like please put me on your waiting list. She was like, yeah, like I'll put you on the
hell
yeah, so I will be taking her class probably like in the next year or two.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
is there anything you hope to take from that experience, or are you just like, whatever comes, whatever she tells, whatever knowledge I will take, but is there something you're like, I really hope we dig into XYZ?
Yeah, basically the class is called Writing with Vulnerability in Mind. And she basically said the class is not really for like learning how to write, or like not really for, what did she say? She said like, the goal is not to finish a writing project. The goal is just to, read stuff and talk about it and like feel the writing and like, eventually it'll like build eventually like your writing skills and stuff. So in order to take the class, you have to email her and say like, this is why I want to take the class, blah, 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 blah. And I basically said like, I'm a huge procrastinator. Like I always feel like I'm in a creative rut. Because with creativity, you really have to like face yourself. You have to face all your demons and all your triumphs and everything. And I think I'm not at that place where I can fully face myself yet. So I said the reason why I want to take this class is to like really like get into my own psyche and just like figure out why I'm so scared to write, why I'm such a procrastinator. And so I can figure that out and then eventually like write to the point where I'm writing on a consistent basis again. And because I said that, she was like, yeah, like that sounds great, like, and she invited me into the class. So I want to take that class to, just to get myself writing, get my juices flowing, and so I can show everyone what I have. That's awesome. Writing-wise. Yeah.
Well, we are excited for you to face those demons. That might sound kind of scary, but for you to admit that to yourself is a really big deal. So it's important for our listeners, our watchers, to hear that you're vulnerable and willing to dig into that so you can show your art to other people.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you can get into the mindset of writing? I know we just talked about facing those demons, but do you have any specific places, environments, atmosphere, any music that helps you get into the mood? Get in the mood. That's not mindset.
I know what you mean. I think music really helps. Just like music that inspires me. Like the artist that I mentioned, Xenia Rubinos. She really like that music just like gets my blood pumping. I just love music made by women, female artists. Like they really inspire me in general. So like if I could put on like Xenia or Beyonce, like I'm good. Like that'll get me my blood pumping and that'll inspire me to get to writing. Because the majority of characters I write are women too. So it's like that female empowerment, but not only like female empowerment, but also just like the female experience. It just is the music that inspires me the most to write characters like that.
I was gonna pull on that thread, why specifically women in music, but you know, and I don't want to assume, but you've got the same experience as them. So hearing them talk about a relationship versus a man or a male speaking about that.
Oh, it's way more relatable to me. Yeah.
If you could choose one word to describe yourself, what would it be?
Oh, that's hard.
Take your time.
That's really hard. Passionate.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more? I'm fascinated by this. Passionate in like all fronts?
Yeah, because I was gonna say chill because that's how I am perceived. Because like when most people like would describe me, they would say chill, which like I am very chill. I'm very quiet, but like in my inside, like there's like my head, like there's like a million things going on. Like, and I have a lot of energy too. Like I get up and I have a little dance party. And like, I like to really like get into the music. I love to sing. I love, like I said, I just love art and creativity. That just really gets my blood pumping, and that's what makes me feel alive. You know, so I have that passion with me every day.
I feel like chill and passion could go hand in hand. Like, I've seen your Instagram. Like I saw you over Halloween weekend. You were throwing it, you know. So it makes sense, and I think it's great that you've told people this, because while we do see you at this demure, is that the right word? I hope so. Very chill, but like it's so cool that there's this another side of you that is very passionate, and it comes out in your art. So that's dope.
Thanks.
What would you want people to feel when they experience your work?
Seen.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Can you tell people where they can find you?
So you can find me on Francesca Maria 1996 on Instagram, Francesca 1996 _ on Twitter. I have a Substack. It's the link is in my bio in my Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we know and love you here at Patchwork Digital, but thank you for being our guest this time in front of the camera. Oh, I had another rapid fire question for you.
Oh, okay.
Last one, I swear. Would you rather be on the stage or in the audience?
On the stage, honey.
Oh, yes.
She's a showgirl. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.